Hey, what's up guys? Mr. Rasmussen here. Today we're going to be making pens. So stick around, pause the video if necessary, and get ready to make a beautiful pen. To get started, I'm just going to need a pencil, a pen blank, and a pen kit. From the pen kit, I'm going to grab the brass tubes that look like this. With those brass tubes, I'm going to make marks on my pen blank for where I'm going to cut. I'm going to line it up right on the end. I'm going to make a mark about 1/4 inch past that tube. I'm going to place it again on that end and make a mark about 1/4 inch past that tube. I'm going to make those lines go all the way across. I'll mark an X where on the material that I don't need, and I'm going to mark a center line as well. Your pen blank should look like this. Alright, now that the marks are made, I'm going to head over to the bandsaw and I'm going to cut along the vertical lines. The horizontal line is just for reference. I'm going to head back over to the table with my pencil, pen blanks, and then I need a straight edge. It can be a ruler, square, or anything else that's straight. With the straight edge, I'm going to mark an X on the ends of both pieces. So I line it up corner to corner, mark a line, and then mark a line. I need to do 1 X per blank. That's it. Now these X's are marking the center of each of these blanks. I'm going to take these over to the drill press and I'm going to drill through to make a center hole. Over here at the drill press, I need to use this contraption. This is called a vise. The pen blank goes right there. You can loosen and tighten with this knob. I'm going to tighten it up really tight, as tight as I can. The X is what you use to find the center, and you're going to drill this hole right in the center of this blank. For this next step, you're going to come back to the table with your pen blanks, the tubes, sandpaper, latex glove, and thick CA glue. What I'm going to do first is grab the tube and the sandpaper. I need to scuff up these tubes slightly. This is going to allow the tubes to make a better bond between the glue and the wood. Now that my tubes are all scuffed up, I'm going to put on the latex glove. I'm going to get my tubes ready, and I'm going to make a bead of glue about as long as the tube, just like that. I'm going to roll the tube around in that glue, get it nice and gluey. Now that it's nice and gluey, I'm going to get ready to insert it in the center hole. In this center hole, I'm going to put just a little bit more glue. This glue will dry extremely fast, so you got to be a little quick with this step. I'm going to insert it in there and I'm going to twist it as it goes in to make sure I get even glue along all sides. Once that's in, I'm going to get this end to be completely flush, and I'm just going to set it up like that while I wait for it to dry. I'm going to do the same thing with my other brass tube. Now that those tubes are in the pen blank, we're going to wait about 10 minutes for that glue to be completely dry before we go ahead and mount those blanks on our lathe. Now that the CA glue has dried, we're going to come over to our second drill press, which has a barrel trimmer on it. We're going to use the same pen vise. We're going to open that up and go as tight as we can. And we're going to send this through on both ends. So first, I line it up. I test before I turn it on. I turn it on. I do that cut, I wait for the drill press to stop, And I need to go until I can see the little brass tube starting to poke out just a little bit, just so that I can see it. On this end, you see I can't see it quite yet. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. So I had to go down a bit farther on this end, but I was able to find the brass tube. You're going to do that with both blanks. We use that barrel trimmer because it helps expand that brass tube into the wood and make it so that it will have a nice fit when it goes onto the lathe. Now that our blanks are all barrel trimmed up, it's time to set our pen blanks on the lathe. We're going to grab 3 bushings, that's what these are called. One slides on just like that. Then we're going to use that center line that we drew earlier. See, there's my center line. I want my blanks to go on the lathe just like this because I want my pen to look like it's one continuous piece. So I set my first blank goes on. If it's a little tight, that's all right. The next bushing goes on in the middle. And then the last blank, go ahead and twist it to try to get it on. There it goes, a lot easier that time. And then the third bushing just goes on the end right there. This is the mandrel, and this just goes into the lathe like that. This gold ring goes on, and this will tighten those up, just like that. We'll put it on as tight as it can go. Once it's turning see how it turns with the piece now? That means it's ready to go. I'll get my tool rest ready. The tailstock will go right to that mandrel. I'll lock the tool stock, and then I'll tighten down the quill, which is this end. You're going to make sure that when you rest your tool, your gouge on the tool rest, that it goes about halfway in vertically onto your pen blank. So see, that's hitting right about my center line right there. So that means I'm good. If I needed to adjust it, I would twist this, and then I would be able to raise and lower this way. So I'll set it up again. Right there, looks good. So I'll just go ahead and tighten that. I'll get my tool rest to be about 1/8 of an inch away, and I'm going to check by hand before I turn it on. Once that looks good, I'll go ahead and turn on my lathe, and I'm going to set it to between 2,500 and 3,000 RPMs, so really fast. With my left hand, I just apply downward force. My right hand is actually pushing and steering my tool. If I were left-handed, it would just look like this. I'm right-handed, so I'll demonstrate it like this. I'm going to gently ease into my piece, and just ever so gently start digging into my piece and take out little by little. Every once in a while I'll turn off the lathe and just check and see how my blanks are feeling. And I'll take a look at them and see about where I need to cut more. you'll want to trim down the pen blanks until they're just bigger than the bushings. That's going to be the size of your pen. You want the blanks to be just bigger than that. And now that I've got it smoothed out quite a bit more, I'm going to turn down the speed to about 2,000 RPMs. Alright, now that my pen blanks are made to the size I want, I'm going to move on to sanding. Alright, for sanding, my setup is going to be the same. I'm going to grab 3 different discs of sandpaper. The first one is 180, and then 240 and 320. They all look basically the same, but you can see what number they are on the back. You're going to start with the lowest number, which is 180, or around 180. Not all the sandpaper we have is about the same. You could grab 150 or 120 would work, or 200. You're going to move the tool rest all the way out. You're going to go ahead and turn on the lathe. You're going to set the speed to about 1,000, maybe a little less. And just gently, you're going to place the sandpaper underneath, and you're going to start sanding. Start taking away a little bit. The lower grits take off more, and the higher grits make it more fine and smooth. So right now with 180, I'm just making it as smooth as possible and getting everything nice and even, getting my lines to look perfect. I'm going to turn it off every once in a while and check to see my progress. Look for any rough marks, and just make sure that everything's going smoothly. I can see that it's, let's see, I thought I saw a rough mark. If I see something that looks a little rough, I'll want to go back to 180 to sand that out. So now that we're done with sanding, we're going to start finishing. The first step is to just grab some tissue paper and just get any dust off of your pen. Now that all the dust is cleared away, I'm going to get rid of that tissue paper. I'm going to have like 2 more tissue papers. I'm going to grab my finish, and this needs to be shake up real nice. Shake it up real good. Once that's all shaked up and even, I'll go ahead and open it up. And we're just going to do a little dab at a time onto my tissue paper, just like this. Do that much. You'll want to close the finish before you start so that it doesn't spill. And go ahead and start back up your lathe. Stay right around 700 or 800 for this part. I'm just going to gently start applying. I'll see that that finish is being worked in to the wood. And we're really going to see the wood start to come to life here. Alright, now that that first coat is worked in, I'm going to let it sit for just a minute or 2. Let it air dry. Alright, so we're ready to assemble now that we did 3 coats of the finish and buffed 3 times. We're going to grab the rest of the components from our pen kit and grab the pen press. Alright, so I'm going to start out just like this without any of the locks in place. I'm going to grab the front half of the blank, and I'm going to grab the tip. I'm going to lightly press those together as much as I can. I'm going to set this in position. Now these locks I'm going to set up right about there, as many as I can. And now as those are in position, I'm going to try to center this as best I can. And as this pushes together, I'm going to make sure it's going in evenly. Okay, there it started to go in crooked. I don't want to push that in all the way or else it's going to break. So I'm going to start over and try again. I can hold one hand underneath to try to keep it as even as possible. Try to keep it going in straight the whole way. And there it goes in. I have a good fit that time. Okay, after having the tip done, next is the twist mechanism. I'll notice here on this red side there is a hole that the tip can go into. I'm going to use that. I'm going to slide it out and get the twist mechanism ready to go. I'm going to place it as close to the center as I can. I can throw up another one of these brakes and I can start to push in. I can see that's not going in quite straight, so I'm going to try to keep it going in as straight as possible. And I'm going to go just until the brass disappears. Just like that is what it should look like. Now it's able to twist. Now you're going to go ahead and put in the pen part of the pen. You can remove the plastic from the tip. That goes in right there. You go ahead and twist that on. I'm going to make sure, see how much of the pen is coming out. See, right now I barely have any of the pen coming out. So that means I can go ahead and push that twist mechanism in just a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I insert in the hole on the red end. And then I'm going to see if I can go just a little bit more. I think right there will be good. Let's check. Yeah, right here with my pen. Just slide it in, twist it. And we want to make sure that it goes away all the way. So there's it's extended all the way. We want to make sure that when it closes that it goes all the way down too. We don't want it to be peeking out a little bit like that either. So that looks good to me because it's extending fully and it's being hidden when I close it all the way. Alright, now I'm ready for the other end. I'm going to make sure that I'm putting it on the right side. I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy, the clip. And I'm going to grab the cap as well. The clip goes into the cap, and the cap goes into the bag. I'm going to use a few more brakes on this one. That looks right to me. Next goes on the center ring. Center ring goes on, and this next one just slides right on just like that. Now your pen is completely ready to use. This beautiful pen.